about a program that has been out there actually for a few months, but honestly, it's not being utilized like it should. And it's a lot of opportunity, and I'm gonna share with you guys some tools today. So, like I said before, we are your Be Your Gift group. We're here God gave us all a gift, and we're here to share with the world. And I want to encourage you guys to do the same, because and I read it a few months ago where it said God gave us all a gift, but if we don't use it, then there's no need for it. You know, like it doesn't mean anything. Like if I keep it for me, like what's the point? But if I share with the world and I make it a better place, then you know it's just like we're here to do what God brings us all to do. So I wanted to share this video with you guys. If you guys don't follow us on social media yet, I want to encourage us to do it. We put out a lot of content, a lot of educational content, funny content, everything.
Who's covered by the Hometown Hero program?
A lot.
Healthcare professionals?
Yep.
Police officers?
Mm-hmm. What about firefighters?
Absolutely.
What about the military?
Them too.
Veterans?
Obviously.
What about teachers?
Yep, and yep.
Cool.
Can you explain to me?
So, it's a really awesome program where 5% of whatever the loan amount is can be used towards down payment and closing costs up to $25,000. And the best part is you don't have to pay it back unless you decide to sell your house, unless you want to refinance, or if it's no longer your primary residence.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go over like the details, like literally the videos, and I can share the videos with you guys. And what you can do is like you can share that with your clients, you can share that with your family, you can share with anybody who you know that could benefit from the program. Okay. Okay. So there are 50 occupations that are eligible to participate. I feel like they're just, when the program came out, a lot of people were promoting it, but they were not telling everybody exactly who could qualify. Because like I have agents that tell no, I know my client doesn't qualify because they told me, and I'm like, what does your client do? They're in the medical field. Like there are literally 50 occupations. I'm gonna go all over, like I'm gonna go over the list almost at the end of the presentation, but I want to tell you what the program is about and how you can use it to help your clients. Okay, so your clients can get up to 5% for 5% off the loan amount to pay for the closing costs and their down payment. So let's put it like this. So if the loan amount is $300,000, they can get $15,000, and they can use for the down payment, and they can use for the closing costs, and on top of that, if you're representing the buyer, you can get seller concessions. So that would mean that your client can buy a home with $0 out of pocket. The max is $25,000, and I've noticed that people are getting confused on this, on that amount, because sometimes they think, oh, so does that mean I'm gonna get $25,000? No, what that means is like the max. For instance, if the loan amount is $500,000, they can get $25,000 for it, but if the loan amount was more than $500,000, they would not get more than $25,000. So even let's say that it was $600,000, they couldn't get $30,000 for that payment. So the max is $25,000. But the easy calculation is, it's calculated 5% of the loan amount, and you don't have to do all the math. You can just call me and say how much can my client get. That's it. Okay, so it's the 5% of the loan amount, max $25,000. It's not there. They don't have to pay for it. It's 0%. They do it as a second silent note. What that means is like we include it on the loan amount, but they don't have to pay for it. It's a 0% interest rate. The only way that they would have to pay it back is if they sell the home, they refinance it, or it's not their primary home anymore. Meaning, if they buy the home and then they rent it out, then they will have to pay it because the program is only for primary homes.
I have a question because I've had this question. So let's say this rarely happens, but let's just say they're in their house for 32 years. At the 30-year term, that's it? It's null and void? They don't owe that money anymore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because at that point, they already paid the mortgage, so they don't have to pay.
Okay.
But like, like during the time that they are paying the mortgage, if they sell the home, they refinance it, or it's not a primary home anymore, then they have to pay it back. But if they keep it, that's the primary home, they don't have to pay that money back.
So that 25 or 5%, it doesn't get taxed, or
No,
it's
nothing.
not included, I mean, it's included in the whole amount of mortgage, but that portion is not gonna get any
Correct. It's
interest.
a silent, we call it in the mortgage world a silent note. Meaning
Okay,
it's
silent
there,
note.
but it's called, they call it silent because there's no payment every month and there's no interest rate. They
Okay.
put it just kind of like a way, like a lien on the property, so they know that if they do sell the property, they have to pay that money back. That's
Okay.
kind of like the way to like track it.
Okay,
Okay, so here's a little bit more information about it. So this is only for purchases. It's a 30-year fix. You can do an FHA, conventional, VA. The minimum credit score is a 640. Okay, that's the minimum credit score to qualify for the program. One thing that I love about this program, and a lot of people, I feel like they get confused. So the way that we do it is, I can qualify the client for an FHA loan. And on top of that, I can help them apply for the Hometown Heroes program. So it's two. Like a lot of people think that they have to apply for that and then they come, or it's confusing because people think that it's like a different loan program, and it's not a loan program, it's a down payment assistance program. So think about it like this. So we do an FHA and then we apply for the Hometown Heroes program. Okay? So 640 is the minimum credit score. If there are people that you guys know that could potentially qualify for this, but the credit's not there yet, there's like different things that we can do to make sure that we can increase their credit score. Okay, so even if people like they have, lower credit score, we can do like a consultation and take a look at their credit and just help them do like different things to make sure they increase it. Because since it's a government program, the requirement is 640. If you apply for an FHA loan, the minimum credit score is 580. So for any regular FHA loan, it's 580. But if we want to apply for the Hometown Heroes, we need at least 640. Okay? The other thing which I love is the clients can qualify for a VA loan for veterans. They can qualify for a VA loan, which is 100% financing. That already means that they don't have to put a down payment, and on top of that, we can qualify for the down payment assistance program for the Hometown Heroes. So that means that they would be getting 100% financing plus money for the down payment.
For the closing costs.
For the closing costs. So that means that it's zero out of pocket. And a lot of people don't understand. The other thing about the program is that it's for first-time home buyers only. However, if the buyer is a veteran, they can still qualify for the program. They're waiving that for veterans. Okay? So for instance, I have this client that we closed a few months ago. He is a veteran. He was working with an online bank. He came to me and he told me, hey Barry, so my friend gave me your number. I already know that the max that I qualify for is $200,000 for the VA loan. But he wanted me to talk to you because he said that you might be able to help me. I've been looking for homes for like 6 months. There's nothing in the market for $200,000. And I said, you're right. There's nothing in the market. He even wanted to buy a mobile home because he couldn't find anything. Long story short, he came to me. I helped him qualify. And I told him, hey, have you heard about the Hometown Heroes program? You qualify. He said, what is that? And I said, oh, it's a down payment assistance program. He said, oh no, they told me that I don't qualify for that. I said, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, they told me that that's not a program that I qualify. I said, well, first of all, you do qualify because it's a government program. So as long as you're our veteran and you have a credit score of 640, which he did, you qualify for the program and we can do a VA loan. So what happened then, he couldn't qualify for the VA loan because his income, and that's something that the other man wasn't able to explain to him the reason why he couldn't qualify for more. Long story short, he came with us. I was able to qualify him. He applied for Hometown Heroes. He closed on his home like 2 months ago, and he got a brand new home here in Lehigh. So he was able to do that, but he was told the program he didn't qualify for the program. He didn't The only reason why, if he went back and asked them about it, they said, no, you don't qualify. But they didn't even mention it. Yeah.
Are there guidelines if there's a VA that already owns a home? Are there guidelines like it has to be 150 miles away from that home to buy another VA home? Or it's just if you're VA, you can buy it?
You mean like if the person wants to keep that home and buy another one? I'll have to look at the guidelines and say exactly what
Okay.
it is because we have to, follow their guidelines. But I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one thing that when you guys are talking to the clients and they don't know these things because again, it's promoted, but sometimes it's not promoted in a way that people can benefit from it. So if you're talking to your client and say, hey, I have a program. I know that being told this is not the first veteran tells me that they said that's not a good program. You don't qualify. The rates are high. It's just because in order to be able to use this to offer this program, you have to be approved, and you have to be able to you have to be approved by them, and then you have to do a certification. A lot of people don't have it.
Do you have to be a Florida resident?
Yes, because it's only for the state of Florida. Okay. Any questions there? No. Okay, the other good thing about this program is that so for a lot of programs it's only if they qualify, they are in the professions that qualify. For this program, let's say that you have a client who's a police officer and his income is not sufficient to qualify, and then his wife, we can add the wife to the loan, but his wife, works in, she's a store manager, we can still add her and he can still get the benefit. There are certain programs that don't allow you to do that, but this program does. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind, because a lot of people think that you can't. And Alex has direct contact with the Hometown Heroes program, so every single time we come into, because it's
a new
true, like
program.
it's a program where you really have to learn like ins and outs and try and go above and beyond, because if you just get confused. A lot of people get confused because it's like, if it's not the guy, I don't even know how many pages the guideline is, like 20 pages. Like if you don't read the guideline, they will tell you, oh, you don't qualify. Okay?
What if, let's say that the co-signer has a home?
Okay, if that cosigner has a home, so this is the thing, we can add the cosigner to the application, but we have to make sure that her income is sufficient to cover either her current mortgage or rent on top of the new mortgage. But we can do that.
And will the co-signer have to move into
No.
this home as primary?
No, that's the other beautiful thing about this program. That it actually allows you to add a cosigner. and
A
the
non-occupied,
cosigner-
wow.
Of our, which schools one like that, right, Alex? Yeah. So we can actually do that. And the things that we're telling you is because we actually have been asking these questions, and we have been able to help people that were told they couldn't qualify.
Yeah, we have had customers, clients that they're not living together, not divorced, not nothing, and you go, and he's my co-signer, and you go like, okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of the things that we can do. I always say that we work within the box, outside the box, within the guidelines. That's how we work in this place, and that you should see the way that we kind of like go back and forth, and be like, hey, you have this little scenario, let's figure it out. So that's the other thing. So to keep in mind, if you have a client that says, well, but I don't think my wife qualifies, or I don't, my income is not sufficient. Like the way that I always say is like, tell the client to
Call
schedule
you.
a consultation with me. Let's do that, because what happens is people disqualify themselves. They do that a lot. It's like, oh, my credit, I have bad credit, I don't have good income, they already told me I don't qualify, and it's like, no, just come to me, literally, 10 to 15 minutes on the phone, and I'll be able to tell you yes or no, or if it's a no, then I tell you what to do. Okay? Okay, so I wanted to go over this one because people get confused, and I want to make sure that we know. So the program is for first-time home buyers. What is a first-time home buyer according to the IRS? The first-time home buyer is a person who hasn't owned a home in the past 3 years. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, 3 years. 3 years, yeah. Because a lot of people think, oh, I had a home 7 years ago. I'm like, you qualify. It's been 3 years. Oh, no, they told me no because I'm not a first-time home buyer anymore. And I was asked, have you had a home in the past 3 years? No, then you're a first time home buyer. According to the IRS, you are. So then you qualify. Then the other thing too, like I said before, for veterans, even if they have had a home within 3 years, they can qualify. They're waiving that for them. It doesn't matter. If a veteran had a home 2 years ago, he still can qualify for the Hometown Heroes as a first time home buyer. Okay? So, like I said, we can do it with an FHA, with a VA, USDA, we can do that. So like in the areas like in Golden Gate States, a lot of that area qualifies for USDA, which is 100% financing. And on top of that, we can do the Hometown Heroes. Okay? So just like kind of like ways that we can utilize the program to help people. And here's like a long list of everyone. I'm gonna send it to you guys. So basically, so it's first responders, so police officers, firefighters, EMTs, a long list of people in the medical field, nurses, doctors, CNAs, HHAs, and all of this. Let me see, the physician assistants, like chiropractic physicians, like there's a long list of people who qualify. Teachers, that's a big one. A lot of teachers don't know they qualify for the program. Okay. I'm gonna send you guys a list of all the people that qualify. And if you have a client and say, hey, Vera, can you check if my client qualifies? I'll be more than happy to check the list for you guys. Yeah.
Okay, I got a question. So obviously on a regular application, you need 2 years of employment.
Yeah.
If they just started working as a police officer, let's say a month ago, and they have their first pay stub, will that work, or they need a specific length of history at that hero job to qualify?
As long as we can prove that they are working, they are working as a police officer, and we can do a verification of employment, 30 days will be sufficient.
30 days.
Yeah. That's as long as we can prove that.
I know that doesn't happen too often, but you never
Yeah,
know.
no, that's a good one. Because as long as they have been working for 30 days and we can prove and we do a verification of employment and the employee verifies that then we can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just ask that.
Yes.
Huh?
I remember she just asked
full
it.
time as a CNA. She's part time right now, and so part time doesn't qualify. So 36 hours is like the magic number.
Yeah.
It's considered full time.
And that's a good
How
point.
many
because
did it
have to
say?
be-
36 hours.
They have to be full time.
Yeah.
Full time, 36 hours.
They have to work 36 hours minimum every single week
Yeah.
for it to be considered full time.
Full time. As long as they're full time, they qualify for that. Do you guys have any other questions about the program? Or any comments or anything, misconceptions that you guys had before me going over the program?
Sarah's done already. She's on her second one now.
Nice.
Well, okay, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it goes to the loan part, when you were talking about FHA and all that, what do you mean that they'll cover? There was 1, 2, and then the third one. It's like USDA, the estates one.
Yeah.
How does that work with Hometown Heroes when you say it covers 100%?
It'll cover their closing costs if they do Hometown Heroes.
So FHA, so the FHA program is the government program that requires 3.5% down, right? VA loan, it's a loan for veterans that covers 100% financing, right? USDA, it's another program that covers 100% financing in like rural areas, like Golden Gate States. Like there's literally a map.
I've never heard of that.
So there's literally a map where if you call me and say, hey Vera, can you check if this property qualifies for USDA? So what I'll do, I'll go in the map and I enter the address. If it says eligible, then it qualifies.
And it's 100%? Like, so
100% financing.
So the $1,000 that they give deposit will be credited to the closing costs, and then if they get this, they'll get their closing costs paid for.
That's,
So
Since their down payment is
that's
zero.
just for rural.
Let's say for instance,
The property has to
buyer
qualify
is-
for it.
She's a nurse,
Okay.
right? You come to me and say, hey Vera, I have this buyer, she's a nurse. Can you check if she qualifies? Okay, I check, make sure that she has a 640, she's working full time, 36 hours, she's a nurse, she qualifies. I can say, okay, she qualifies for a Hometown Nurse program. Now you say, Vera, my client wants to know if she can do a USDA loan. I'm like, okay, perfect. So as long as she has the 640, we're good. Like in my mind, I'm like, I'm doing a loan in my mind. As long as she has 640, okay, she qualifies. Now, to make sure that we can do USDA, she would have to be looking in properties in the USDA area eligible. I mentioned the states because for the most part, Golden Gate
It's
states
a
qualify.
separate thing.
Not too many
It's
areas.
by the
in
government,
Naples
it's similar to a
qualify.
fiction.
Lehigh,
No.
no.
I'd like to see
didn't
that
know
map. I
that.
didn't even know.
I have it.
Yeah.
I'll give it to them.
Yeah. So that way you say, okay, so she qualifies for the program. She has 640, qualifies for Hometown Heroes. The property that she wants to buy qualifies for USDA. We can do USDA and the Hometown Heroes program, and she already can buy with 0 out of pocket.
Now, if they give, let's say, $1,000 deposit, and then they cover the closing costs and 100% financing, do they get that back at closing?
Yeah, they do. That's the money.
Okay.
That's the money. Or what they can do is no, because they already have to pay for the appraisal. Yeah, they get the money back.
Okay.
Because that's just money.
Because I know some programs don't allow you to get any money
That's
back.
awesome.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions? No? I wanted to make sure that you guys, again, I know like it's being promoted. I see it
Nobody's
everywhere.
using it.
Nobody's using it because nobody knows how to use it.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted you to bring
Yeah.
you guys here and say,
That's why we're here.
I'm your girl. So because I want you guys to be able to use this, because when everyone is talking about the market this, the market that, the rates this, the rate that, it's like, no, I don't care about anything you tell me. I know I can help my clients. And I know I can use these programs, the programs that are not being used the way they're supposed to be used.
This is like a limited time program.
We don't know, right?
Limited funds meaning they have 100 million. So when those 100 million run out, we don't know if they're gonna put more money.
Okay, so it's a
Yeah,
limited
it's been live
time
since
offer.
I didn't know that.
June, July, August,
Good
September,
question.
October. So it's been 4 months. And I feel like a lot of the times why people don't use, this is what I hear when I ask people and I tell them about the program. One, the veterans I know. So this is how veterans brains work. Veterans go to Veterans United to apply for a loan. You know why? Because they're told to do that. I know because I work with a lot of veterans. Veterans are told to go to Veterans United. Veterans United do not offer Hometown Heroes program. So they don't even know about it.
Why?
I don't know. They don't. They don't.
Because it's a harder loan and they get paid less. I guarantee that's why. Huh?
Because it's a program that, well, Alex and I have been breaking our brains since it came out, asking questions, saying this, that, how do we do this, how do we do that? Because when on our end, it's a complex, it's not a complex loan, but it's a loan that takes a lot of work.
Yeah, additional work.
A lot of work on our end, but we're pros at it now. In an anticipation of what the market is bringing, we're able to use this tool to make sure that we are ready. So how this works is, it is a 30-year fixed loan. It's not a variable rate, it is fixed, but this is how it works. So when the client comes to me, I'm going to give them the rate.
Let me stop you for 1 second.
Yeah.
This is what we talked about in last week's meeting, ¿ok? Esto es lo que nosotros hablamos al final de la reunión, que yo me estaba quedando sin tiempo, because we have 40-minute meetings and then
Yeah.
that's it, that's it, we can't keep going. But, so ella lo va a explicar mejor, everybody speaks on, ella lo va a explicar mejor, pero esto es lo que yo les estaba explicando, del 3-to-1 buy down, del 2-to-1 buy down, es esto mismo. So piensen en lo que yo les dije y después lo que ella diga es lo que es. Si yo dije algo mal, ella es la que sabe. Pero para que they have at least an idea of where this is coming from, yeah.
Okay. So what it is, we will do a traditional FHA, conventional VA loan fixed for 30 years. This is not a variable rate. It doesn't mean that your client's rate is gonna be different, down the road. Because I know a lot of people don't even wanna consider this loan, this strategy, because they don't understand it. But if you're able to understand it and help your client with that, it could make a big difference if you're a buyer's agent or you're a listing agent. So it's a fixed rate. Let's say that your client comes to me and the client says, Viri, I want to buy a home and the loan amount is $400,000, right? And I quote the rate today and the rate is 7.5. Okay? And then he sends me a contract and I say, okay, perfect. So your client is, the loan amount is gonna be 400,000, rate 7.5. So the way this work is, the loan again, and I wanna emphasize, cause this is really important, it's gonna be fixed for 30 years. It's not, the rate's not gonna change, but this is how it works. So, the buy down is, in the first year, the rate is gonna go down by 2 points. In the second year, the rate it goes down by 1 point, and in the third year, it's gonna go back to 7.5%. Whatever the rate was when we closed the loan. It's not like it's changing. It's not that it's changed. It goes back. It goes back to what it was 3 years ago when we closed on the loan. But the beautiful thing about this is that your client will be saving $500 in this scenario. Your client's gonna be saving $525 a month
For the first year.
In the second year, your client is gonna be saving $268 a month for the second year. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Who pays for this? The seller pays for this. This is how it works. The seller will be paying for the first year and for the second year for where your client's gonna be saving, and it's gonna be $9,000, $531. Now you're gonna be like, sellers are not gonna wanna do this. They're not gonna wanna pay for the buyers, first year and second year for the rate. Yes, they will. I'm gonna tell you how. So, if you have a listing, and the listing is not moving, tell me what is the first thing that you guys have to do in order to sell the property. Just tell me a few things that you guys do.
Run comms.
What else?
The
If you're
price, you bring down the price.
Okay, what else do you guys do? Let's say that you have a property, your property has been in the market for,
Well, offer concessions.
okay, what else?
Come on, people.
Okay, so if your
Another
property
point.
has been in the market for 60 days, the first thing, one of the strategies that you guys use is lower the price or offer concessions, right? What if you're representing the listing agent and you tell and you're representing the buyer, the seller, and you said, hey, instead of us lowering the price by 20,000, whatever the amount is, what if we offer to pay for the buyer, whoever buys the property for these 2 years? If you look at here, the amount is only $10,000. Instead of lowering the price by like $15,000 or $20,000. And at the same time, it's like, okay, so when you have a buyer, I'm gonna tell you the reason why a lot of properties are not moving because of financing. A lot of people don't qualify. Okay? Number one. Number two, buyers are concerned about payment. Because when we're talking about a 7.5 interest rate compared to a 5.5% and 6.5%, it's a big difference for a lot of people. A lot of people are the reason why they don't want to buy. They love the house, they love everything else, but when I tell them the payment, they're like, no, I just can't do that. But if you're representing the seller and you say, hey, a buyer comes to you and say, hey, my buyer is willing to do this for your client, then it's more attractive
Yeah.
for both.
Does the buyer have to qualify at the 7.5% or at the 5.5?
They have to
7.5.
7.5%. And the reason why, I'm going to tell you why. Because it's not a variable rate. It's not a variable loan. It's fixed. Remember what I
Yeah.
told you guys at the beginning? It's fixed. So the rate is 7.5, but the seller is paying for the first and second year,
And that's paid at closing.
and it's being paid at closing. Okay, but it makes a big difference on your client. And here's the other thing. And that's something that I'm telling all my clients. Of course, the rate right now it's in the sevens. I don't know what's gonna be tomorrow. I don't even know what's gonna be in the next 6 months. But here's my promise: when the rates go down, I'm going to be the first one calling them. Hey, guess what? The rate went down. Let's refinance.
Mm-hmm.
So at least for the first and the second year, they know that when the rates go down, we're able to refinance. But they're not paying 7.5% payment. They're doing 5.5 and 6.5%. Okay? So this is how much they will be saving monthly.
And do you refinance the whole thing? I mean, if it's they started on they close at 7.5. and you refinance, let's say the next year, and your rate is at 467, then the year 1 and year 2 also goes on the same like
So
progression?
This is how it works. Let's say that we close the loan today at 7.5%, and then next year rates go down at 4.5. We're gonna refinance at 4.5%, meaning since that time, as soon as we close, that's what their new payment is gonna be. And if there's any money left over from here that they pay, because remember that this is already paid for. If there's, let's say that we refinance on year 2,
That always, okay, that's
this
at the
money, we're
closing.
gonna apply it to the principal.
Okay,
So they never lose the money. But again, it's money that like the sellers contributed. Sellers already willing to contribute, they can contribute with this. And then there's something makes your property more attractive because you're willing to help. And then on the other hand too, you're saying, hey, buyer, if you're worried about the payment, I mean, I can help you for year 1 and year 2, and then you're able to refinance. Okay? If they don't want to do 2 years, we can always do 1 year. They're confusing.
no,
No?
no.
Okay, so the only requirement is that the seller has to pay for it. It cannot be a gift. It cannot be a lender contribution, an agent's contribution. It has to be paid by the seller. So it's something that your seller has to know. It is something like when you're representing the buyer and the seller is willing to do that. It's something that they need to know.
So how would we put it on the contract? Like how would we word it?
There is actually an addendum that we have.
Oh,
That
okay.
they have to sign. Like let's say that you're getting ready to send a contract and you say, hey Gary, the seller is willing to do the buy down. Send me the addendum. I can actually send it to you and say just sign it when you sign the contract. Okay? We can do it with an FHA, with an FBA, USDA, conventional. It's for purchases only, and it's only for primary and second home. So we cannot do investments. Investments are out of the picture. We cannot do it, but we can do primary, we can do second homes, and yeah, we can just do it with any other program. So this is something that I wanted you guys to know, because either if you're representing the buyer, you can negotiate for your buyer and say, hey, seller, will you be willing to, you guys still like, I feel like in this market, you're still able to do that. You're still able to negotiate, either lower the price, which I'm going to tell you something, price doesn't make a big difference in payment. If you lower the price for $10,000, the payment might be lower for $20
Yeah.
monthly. That's as much. But if you're able to negotiate seller concessions or buy downs, then you're making a big difference on your client. And then at the other time, at the same time, you're telling your client, don't worry. At least first year 1 and year 2, your payment is gonna be lower. And in year 3, or even before that, they're gonna be calling you and they're gonna refinance. Because that's what we're gonna do. And the thing, here's the thing. There's just so much fear out there of what's gonna happen that people are just paralyzed. They don't know what to do. They don't know they should buy, they should rent. Here's my thing. When people ask me, Mary, should I buy? I will say, depends. Are you renting? Yeah. Okay. Do you like where you are? Yeah. Okay. Do you want a bigger place? No. Then maybe you're good. But if you have a family, if you need a bigger place, if your rent is already $3,000 and you pay that monthly, why not pay your own mortgage? Because that's the fear that a lot of people are having out there.